Hello, Hero Factory! It is awesome to see all of you guys here with us this Sunday. Guys, we're going to be moving on to learning about a whole new Bible character. Now, we've been learning for the past 2 weeks in Hero Factory about King Manasseh, and that's been an amazing story to learn about, hasn't it? You know, we have learned that God can give us a fresh start from anything that we do wrong. Like, how amazing is that? We can go to God, just like King Manasseh did, and say, "Hey God, I've done something wrong. It feels a bit gross. I'm not very proud of it. Please can I have your forgiveness?" And God will go, "Sure." You know, it's that simple, guys. God will give us a fresh start for whatever we've done wrong. So always come to him with things that you have done wrong. Say sorry and he will give you his forgiveness. Incredible. Now, guys, I'm going to give you a few little small clues as to who we are learning about this week. Can any of you guys guess? Right, clue number 1. Oh, a boat. Now, there are several Bible stories that include a boat. We have Jesus walking on the water, where the disciples see him whilst they're in a boat. What else do we have, guys? We have Jesus performing the miracles where the disciples catch loads of fish when they couldn't catch any before. But they're not the boats I'm thinking about. Should I give you a second clue? Clue number 2. Oh, now, we know it's a man of the Bible, so that narrows it down a little bit. Now, I think you guys are going to get it on clue number 3. Oh, I feel like you guys have got it. We're learning about Jonah. Now, Jonah is one of my favourite all-time Bible characters. Now, guys, have any of you ever been so scared to do something? Like, you might have a fear of it. I'm not talking about fear of spiders or fear of the dark or of heights. I'm talking about something that when you think about doing it, it makes you really, really scared. Like you've got a wobbly tummy, like you're like, I don't really want to do that. But you know, Jonah had something really important that he needed to do for God. And he was so scared of it. And the reason why he ended up in the belly of the whale is because he ran away from what God wanted him to do. Now we're going to watch a video to explain it a little bit more, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about how God can give us a fresh start from anywhere. Keep your eyes peeled. I'll see you after the video.
Heroes of the Bible, Jonah. This is Jonah. Jonah was a prophet. That means it was his job to tell people what God told him to say.
Yep.
One day, God told Jonah to go to Nineveh because the people of Nineveh were doing bad things. But instead, Jonah ran away.
Where are you, please?
And went to the port to board a ship, going the other way. He was hoping to get away from God. He sailed for a place called Tarshish. While he was at sea, God sent a great and powerful wind over the sea that caused a storm that seemed like it would break the ship apart. Fearing for their lives, the sailors tried everything they could think of to save the ship. Meanwhile, Jonah was sound asleep, so the captain went down and said, "How can you sleep at a time like this? Get up and pray to your God. Maybe he will help us." Then the crew figured out that Jonah was the reason for the storm. And they asked him, "Who are you? Why is this happening to us?" Jonah told them who he was and that he worshipped the one true God who made the sea. Then he told the sailors to throw him in the sea so the storm would stop.
No, why?
The sailors still tried to escape the storm, but it was no use. So they asked God for forgiveness and threw Jonah into the sea. The storm stopped at once.
Whoa!
The sailors were amazed at God's power and they vowed to serve him. Now God sent a great fish to swallow Jonah.
Great.
And Jonah was inside the fish for 3 days and nights. Jonah prayed to God from inside the fish, and God ordered the fish to spit Jonah out.
Yuck.
God told Jonah again to go to the city of Nineveh to tell them what God had said about them.
I get it.
This time, Jonah obeyed God and went to Nineveh to deliver God's message. The people of Nineveh stopped doing bad things and turned to God. They were saved because they listened to the message that God had given Jonah.
Amazing. That was an amazing video, wasn't it, guys? But what was it that Jonah was scared about? Was he scared of heights? Was he scared of spiders? No, Jonah was scared of going to Nineveh to share God's word. I think sometimes, guys, isn't it encouraging to know that even people in the Bible were scared about doing stuff, just like we can be scared sometimes. You know, even though this story was in the Old Testament, so even before Jesus existed, which means it's a long time ago, it doesn't mean that Jonah wasn't scared. You know, it's okay to be scared sometimes, but sometimes we've got to know that we can pray to God and God can be our courage. Isn't that right, Hero Factory? But guys, Jonah was so scared of going to Nineveh that he ran away. Sometimes we can run away from things we're scared of too. It can be easy to do that, especially when you don't want to do something. But Jonah was given a second chance. Now, in this Hero Factory series of Fresh Start, we're learning about different people in the Bible who have been given that fresh start by God. And Jonah was one of those people. We've had King Manasseh, we've had Jonah. With King Manasseh, we've learned that we can have a fresh start from anything we do. With Jonah, we're learning this week how we can have a fresh start from anywhere. That means, guys, if we run away from God because we're scared of something, God says, that's okay, I'm going to give you a fresh start anyway. He wants to be close to us, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't give us a second chance when we return back to him. You know, Jonah ran away from what God wanted, but God gave him a second chance, and eventually Jonah went and did what God had asked him to do. And you know, Hero Factory, we can sometimes mess up. It's just the truth. We're human, we can mess up sometimes, but God says that we are forgiven, that he has chosen us to do acts which only he has chosen us to do. That means that you all have a purpose and a plan over your life to do amazing things for God. But sometimes those can be scary things. They can be things that you hear God asking you to do and you're like, I don't know if I want to do that. And God's saying, that is okay to be scared, but I am your courage and I go with you. And that is something that Jonah had to learn, that even though he ran away from God, God was still there for him. So yeah, we're going to pass back to your Hero Factory leaders. We're going to learn about this a little bit more. So keep your ears peeled and your eyes and attention on them. And yes, it's going to be great. See you guys soon. Have an awesome week. See you next week.